12. You've only got 12. Oh,
Dublin.
you are not doing
What
well.
the is Dolman County? What is that?
Play-by-play on SportsJOE and Her, brought to you by AIG, in support of 20 by 20.
So much to talk about this week. We have the Women's World Cup that's kicked off on Friday. So if you're not a soccer fan, tough luck. We're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going up north as well. The Irish women's hockey team have got off to a great start up in Banbridge, road to Tokyo. I'm Jenny Murphy. This is Play by Play, brought to you by AIG. Better introduce my guests. We've got a slightly more bronzed Dublin footballer, Niamh McEvoy here. Nice. And we've got a twilight, pale, glistening Conán Doherty.
I've actually been away as well. That's a real sad thing.
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's a neat hand.
Okay, well, sure. Look, you made an effort.
I'm not even
I
that
look
tan.
sick next to Niamh.
No, you've got that nice red hue. Like red is a good colour. It suits.
I'm not even that tanned.
You're better than you're not. I heard you were at a nudist beach in France. Is that it?
No, I was at a wedding.
Grand. Okay, well, we'll jump right into it. So World Cup stuff. How was the wedding?
Yeah, fab.
Great. Okay. Did you watch any matches while you were over there?
It was actually it wasn't the weekend just gone, it was the weekend before.
Right.
The World Cup hadn't started yet, no, I didn't actually watch any.
Right.
You remember Jenny? She wasn't here last week.
She wasn't here last week. Actually, the ratings and stuff went up on the show quite substantially. I can't quite place the correlation between you not being here and people liking it more on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube. But
I heard something similar the week before when you were gone, girl. They just tell you what they want to hear or what they want to hear.
Fine. Well, let's talk about sports then, because that's what we're all here for. France.
Yeah.
Not too bad a start to their World Cup. You were all praises off air.
Yeah, no, it was an unbelievable start to the World Cup. Obviously, so many people tuned in as well because it was the kind of match to kick off. But I don't know if you got to see it, but it was an incredible start. I know, Joe, you're only as good as the people you're up against. You know, you can only play to your best or whatever. But I thought they were really good. Korea gave what they could back, but no, France were phenomenal. They're looking very, very formidable going forward in the competition, I think. And I know you mentioned Reynard in one of the previous episodes.
Serious.
Oh, she's incredible. Like, that would have been only one of my second or third time seeing her play. And she, in fairness, didn't have to do that much defensively. So I'm looking forward to seeing her in tougher battles against, more oppositions who have, or who have more possession and spend more time in their half. But what a threat in the air, incredible. But even the goal that was disallowed for the tiniest offside I've ever seen, it was literally a toenail. But even the presence of mind, she knocked it back across the goal. I just think France are looking so formidable, but then it's only the first game, so you can't really read.
I think read into it. It's early days.
It was a great start though to the competition,
and
which
it's
is
huge
great.
pressure. Home World Cup it's lovely.
Yeah,
been there, but sometimes if you're not in the right headspace, it's definitely.
It's how you deal with that pressure as well. I would have felt that time E had a Home World Cup, and I just thought there was a huge amount of pressure on you. And then when it wasn't going well, it kind of started to unravel. You need to get it's great that they got a good start. It's obviously great that they came up against Korea first and they could get a bit of momentum as well. But I think they're seriously in the running to win it.
If you got
first
them in,
weekend,
if you got
I'm
them in the sweepstakes, you'd be fairly happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting that you would see it as pressure almost from having a home World Cup. Did you find that, Jenny?
I don't really know. My first 15s World Cup was in 2014, and I was very much a young player and just happy to be there and soaking it all in, and didn't know what the norm was. There's no norm going into a World Cup. It's different every year because players change, coaches change. So our home World Cup in 2017, I was a bit more of a senior player. There was more talk about us in the media than there was in previous World Cup. But to be honest, that wasn't difficult because at the start of 2014, there was not really much kind of chatter. We were in a tough group and it was briefly mentioned, but no in-depth kind of analysis. So I don't know, for me anyway, I just stay away from social media, don't really go on that much, and just you kind of go into a little bit of a bubble. And as well as that, with the Rugby World Cup, there's such a short turnaround of games. You're only at every fourth day you're playing, so you don't have time to check out what journalist slated you or what if you played well or not. It's just it's too tiring and too time consuming, and you don't have a lot of time to do your recovery, do your analysis, prep for the next game, and meet some family hopefully in your downtime. So for me, personally, I didn't really feel it, but maybe some of the other girls probably would have felt a little bit differently.
I would be similar in the sense that I just wouldn't, in the run-up to a big game, pay attention to social media. So can I absolutely understand what you're saying there about going into a bubble. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again, like when I play for Dublin, I feel like I'm representing ladies football, like the sport. And I don't just, obviously it's such a privilege, I'm absolutely representing Dublin, that's such a privilege, but I think it's something different from, say, the men, like they're just representing, their sport is like totally respected, like it's one of the biggest sports in the country, like great spectatorship and stuff. But when we get a platform like that, like the French women had the other day, like it was the most viewed women's sporting event, I think it was 9.1 million people tuned into it. They are representing, like I'd say, such a high percentage of those figures might have never even watched a ladies football game before. So those French women were representing, and the Koreans as well, representing much more than just their country, because they're trying, like everybody wants their sport to grow, and like the men's World Cup gets everybody, like everybody's involved in it, but this is the first time I've ever seen a women's sporting event, like everybody has the posters and the group, the posters in the newspapers and all, like I've never seen that before ever. So
do you think the coverage is different to previous World Cups?
Oh yeah, it's much bigger, like it's much more, it's on a bigger scale. But you're right, Niamh, like with the men's World Cup, and I hate saying this, but it's like it's taken as a given, people will watch it.
Yeah,
it's almost like the last season of Game of Thrones, like you hate it, but you're going to keep watching it anyway, you're invested in it, but then it's almost like with this now, because there's so much more coverage and more people are watching it, but because of that there's people watching it for the first time and they're critiquing it, like they're watching the first season of Game of Thrones, and they're deciding whether or not we're going to come back or not. You
need to get them to bite.
That's exactly,
I guess,
that's a great analogy.
Speaking of some great coverage, we sent producer Niamh the better of the Niamhs after the launch of the World Cup coverage. So with RTE and TG Cahir. So she was chatting to Steph Roche, Jacqui Hurley, Ruth Fahey, Lisa Fallon, all the big names. So a lot of commentators and players, and some very cute kids as well. So we've got a clip to show you guys if you want to have a little look. Check it out.
What do you like most about sport?
That you can get active and you can play more with your friends.
And are you excited about seeing all of these amazing women play sport on TV?
Yes.
What's the most exciting thing about seeing all of these incredible women play sport?
Well, that they haven't been on the TV before, and it's going to be really exciting to have them on the TV.
And when you guys grow up, do you want to be famous athletes and maybe play sport on TV for hundreds of thousands of people to watch?
Yeah, because I want to swim in the Olympics on TV.
And what are you going to do to get to the Olympics?
I'm going to work hard in swimming and have as much fun as I can.
What would you say to maybe naysayers who might be like, it's not as good as the men's game?
I've just had this chat a few minutes ago with somebody else, but I'm a big, people know who I am a lot, and a lot of people try to talk about women's football to me quite a lot. And I've heard all sorts. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that I've heard, that women's football isn't good. It's like watching paint dry, all these kind of crap. But my main point would be the latter stages of the tournament is where you're going to see the real quality in the games. I think the group stages, you're going to have a little bit of gulf and clash. You're going to have teams, particularly if you look at USA's group, they've got Thailand and Chile in their group. And I think if you look at them teams, they're so far behind the USA in terms of the resources and the money they've had pumped into them over the last few years. So I think they're going to be games where, and they might prove me wrong, I might come out and beat them, but they're going to be the games where you'll see the little gulf in class. But the latter stages of the tournament, you're going to see the best teams. You're going to see hopefully the USAs, the Englands, the Netherlands, the Spains, France, Germany, and their countries that are really, really good, talented footballers who play football. So that's all I can say is that don't judge it too soon into the tournament. Give it time and let's see the best teams playing, and then maybe you can give your opinion.
There's a few of the young sports fans here today, which is incredible to see as well. And even if they're, encompassing a little bit of this on the day, it's going to really make an impact. You told a story there about when you were at the zoo recently and something that you kind of heard that really affected you. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, my 5-year-old son Luke was having his conversation with his little friend Ivana, who's 7, and they were having this conversation that was like, boys are better, girls are better, boys are better, girls are better. And then I heard Ivana saying to Luke, you're right, boys are better. And I was like, Jesus, what's the story here? So I ran over there and I was like, Ivana, why did you say there that boys are better? And she was like, well, boys are better because their matches are on TV. And my heart sank. I just thought, how has society taught a 7-year-old girl that this is the norm, that boys are better because their matches are on TV? So I had to tell her, look, girls' matches are on TV, and I think this summer is going to change that. I said to her, look, you put on your TV this summer and you're going to see great matches, loads of girls, and this is what you can be if that's what you want. And she was amazed. She couldn't believe it. So, look, I think there is an onus on us to kind of show these girls that this is what the future can be like, but they need to see it, and we all need to have an impact in that. Their parents need to do it, their teachers need to do it, because they need to realise that these girls have massive opportunity to be sports people if that's what they want to be.
So obviously this is an incredible day. We're here and we're celebrating World Cup coverage across TG Cara and RTE. As pundits, what does this mean to you to be on such a massive stage, kind of finally?
I think this World Cup can be a real game changer for women's football, not just in Ireland but globally. I think the amount of coverage that this tournament is going to get is going to showcase the talents of so many amazing football players, but also some really, really talented coaches and managers. And I think it's going to be an opportunity to create role models in people's front rooms, and they are going to be females, and that lots of kids and even adults, people my age, won't have had that ever before. And that's why I think it's an amazing opportunity. I remember, I think it's actually 30 years ago almost to the day, the 6th of June 1989, that a programme aired on Channel 4 called The Manageress. And it was a woman called Sherry Lungy, and she became the manageress of a men's team in England. And to this day, that still hasn't happened, and we're 30 years down the road. But I remember as a 12-year-old child, when I saw that programme, I saw a woman working in football. And to me, if I didn't see that, I'm not sure I ever could have had that dream and that vision and the drive to pursue it. So I think there's a massive level of responsibility for us all to give this as an opportunity to inspire a whole generation of people to be able to look and see and go, do you know what, I can be. And that's what the opportunity that this World Cup brings, I think.
And obviously speaking about, the actual games and stuff, a little unfortunate that Ireland didn't qualify. Do you think that might affect viewers and the audience, or what would you say to people who might be like, oh, well, I'm really excited that this is happening, but sure, Ireland aren't in it?
No, I think in one sense, obviously it's disappointing they won't be there, but the fact is the majority of people won't have watched women's football regardless. And what I'd say to people is get out and watch this, like I said, totally regardless, because the quality on show is going to be outrageous. The biggest thing for me is that we don't have any clear-cut favourite here. We don't have 1, 2 or 3 teams who are possibly going to run away. There's no guaranteed quarter-finalists, no guaranteed semi-finalists. We have about 4 teams as potential top favourites, and we've got 3 or 4 outside that who could very definitely win it. So for that reason alone, for the competitiveness, for the guaranteed quality that's coming, I would appeal to people to please watch this. And yeah, of course, disappointing Ireland aren't there. But in terms of exposing yourself to the game, exposing yourself to something new, I would say the women's game, it's not the men's game, it's a different sport. Get out and watch it. And having the likes of Lisa on, who I was chatting to Lisa off air there, and she's going to bring something completely different here. And it's everything around the actual visual. We have the punditry, we have different co-commentators on, different commentators, different analysts who will bring a whole different level of experience. And I would just say to people, just give it a go and watch it. You will be happily surprised.
So that was some incredible women chatting about soccer and upcoming stuff. Annie, that was a really nice story. Well, no, it wasn't a really nice story in the zoo, but it was...
Brilliant story.
Yeah, it was a brilliant story. It wasn't a brilliant story. It was sad, but...
I hear that stuff all the time. Like, obviously, I have a primary school teaching background, and I would hear, you know, it's just real life, like boys saying things like men's work and I'll carry the sand over. I mean, you're all four, like none of you are particularly strong. Like, like she's probably strong and she should probably carry the sand over to the sandbox. But no, it is. It's just the way both genders have been constructed in society, and unfortunately, like that is the historical discourse. And you know, I feel like there's a lot of, in my own sport, kind of talk around boys are naturally better than girls and stuff, and I would say that that's absolutely not the case. It's just that boys always have footballs with them. They're always out. Like, everything they do is related to football. Like, when I look around the housing estate that my parents live in, all the young boys on the road have footballs, and the girls are doing other things, and they only play football when they go training. So obviously, like, and then the girls who do, like, play with the boys or have footballs, or the girls who play with each other with footballs, like, they're up to that level of skill. But I think they're, like, boys are more exposed to football from an earlier age, and a knock-on effect that they'd be more skillful and stuff. Like, they do those childlike extras, like pretending Micheál O'Meara-Hurtig's commenting on your solo dummy out in the back garden, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's happening more and more now. Like, girls are kind of involved more in, like, playing football out in the roads more and more, but historically they would have only done it like kind of going to matches and stuff. And like, it's just that it's great to see, like, especially with the Women's World Cup on, you know, you would hope that there'd be people going out saying, like, I'm Wendy Reynard, you know, rather than I'm Virgil van Dijk. Like, I'm a centre half, but I'm a female one, you know, the kind of way. So obviously it is brilliant for the landscape, I suppose.
Well, I think it's like when it's not even, like, with a lot of female sports, you need to actively search for it, and it's not easily or readily available. You need to go, there's a few obstacles, but something like this, it's like, even someone casually interested in sport, to stick it on in the background and then suddenly a whopper goal catches your eye, or a fantastic piece of skill. It's kind of like, it's in people's minds a little bit. I know even in the office I work, you're like, there is sweepstakes chat, and there is like, oh, you got chili, sucks for you. Like, there is, it's the norm now, and it's not, we don't have, it's just something.
But even myself, like, I had an interest in the France game and I had an interest in the England game, but I tuned into the Spanish game because I have them in my sweepstake, you know what I mean? That, obviously, I wouldn't have watched as much women's soccer otherwise, but it is available for me to watch, you know, the kind of way. So it's just a natural, I suppose.
And it's great that Jacqui's able to sort of come over and correct her daughter there and be like, actually, this is available on TV, you know, and to give people a peek behind the curtain. Like, nobody, say if you take play-by-play, nobody suddenly is just going to sit down and be invested in this whole show because they don't know anything about the show. So that's why we take a minute of it, of something that we think is good. And Niamh McEvoy, who does say plenty of good things, Jenny, despite what you say. But if it is good, like,
but do you know why? Do you know why people think she says plenty of good things? Is because there's a great editor in the back that cuts out all of the crap that she does say to make her sound somewhat coherent.
Continue. Stop cutting off code.
But we take what she's saying and it's good, and we put it out there in a 1 minute clip, and, you know, again, that's not going to drive people to watch a full 1 hour show, but then enough people might say, that was a good clip, I want to watch some more of that. So just what you're saying about putting it on the background, they might see a good goal, then they might get invested a bit more gradually, like, you know, because there's no fast trick here to get people invested into a show, or there's no fast trick to get people invested into
because you don't want to trick people.
No,
it's kind of like, it's a good game of football. It just happens that it's women kicking around the ball as opposed to men. Like, that's it. Watch it. Don't compare it to its male counterpart. They play the game slightly different. Same in rugby, same in Gaelic football, but you can still appreciate it for what it is. It's a great game. Just look at it on its own.
Yeah, and thankfully, like, that's happening more now as well, because I do always worry about, when we're having these conversations, that the discourse falls into, like, we're always comparing men and women and stuff.
Quite negatively,
Yeah, and I know, like, the climate is at that point, you know, but I saw there were 6 million people who watched the England match
Yeah, that
the
was,
other day, and
yeah.
that was 5 times more than people who watched the England and Switzerland Nations League game. And you know, again, you could compare the two of them, but then I was like, well, of course, one's a Nations League match and the other is a World Cup.
And the one is they actually have a hope of a trophy, and the other is not.
Yeah.
No, so we'll go right back. Well, before we talk about England, Scotland, one of the commentators that's commentating, Maher, you were saying that you play football with her. Well, you're saying that she tries to play football, but she throws in some slide tackles. And
I did not say that, Ruth. I did not say that. Jenny,
Ruth,
if you
you
know
did.
her, likes to twist things a little bit. But yeah, Ruth took up Gaelic football this year, and obviously she's quite an accomplished soccer player. Soccer players call it football, but she's a really good footballer.
Thanks for explaining that, Maher.
Yeah, no bother. She's a really good footballer. But yeah, she took to it straight away. She's playing cornerback for us, and obviously she would have really good footwork and stuff from playing soccer. You know, where in Gal I can kind of just run in, and you have to actually like to not hack people. Her footwork's really good, so she is playing cornerback, and she can kind of like overcommit, and if she doesn't win it, recover. You know, the kind of way she's lightning quick. But yeah, the rules there for a couple of weeks, she was just like, she'd be giving away frees, and she'd be like, what, Maher? And I'd be like, oh, just don't even worry about it. Like, you know, just real. But for her to come up, she's like made such an impact on the group so far, and hopefully she just picks up the rules as she goes. But yeah, at the minute, she's a bit of a fouler.
Because Louise Quinn, Katie McCabe and a few of the Irish football girls, they were at an event, so they had like a fan zone in the Aviva Stadium last week or the week before, and it was basically like they were the coaches and they were the player kind of coaches, and they were coaching, you know, the likes of Ruth Valley commentators and people that are going to be involved in the Women's World Cup. And I was like, oh, Louise, how did it go? And she was like, oh my God, spot the Gaelic footballer. As in, they would just... When the ball was in one half, Louise was like, move to the halfway line, and they were all just stuck beside each other, man marking. She was like, there's an offside rule. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
It is, yeah. We played a bit of soccer there with the club at the weekend, and soccer was my sport originally. And then I transferred over to Ghana 12 years ago or something. But I was like, what is going on? Like, it's so different. Like, people, I think back in the day, used to be able to transfer across more easily. You know, soccer players would transfer into kind of GAA players easier, but like ladies football has evolved so much that it's not as easy a transition anymore. There's much more to it. But yeah, I don't think my soccer equally. I don't think I could do what Ruth has done, vice versa. Like, I couldn't go play soccer.
What was your position in soccer?
I played centre midfield.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So sounds so surprised. It was like, I just thought you and Jenny would be mincing
Milling people at
halves.
the back.
Yeah.
No, actually did sometimes dabble back there. Yeah.
Dabble in milling people, but yeah, only from the centre of the park.
Yeah.
Now, we should probably talk a bit about the World Cup.
Yes.
A little bit. So I got Scotland in my sweepstakes.
Chin up.
Pardon?
Chin up.
Thanks, friend. Thanks.
No, they're good, but they lost.
Yeah, it was. It probably wasn't the best start from England, if I'm honest. Phil Neville came out afterwards and said that was nowhere near good enough, which I think is fair enough. But again, opening game, 2-1 win. It was really tough. The really hot weather where they were playing, and some decent performances. But did any of you guys catch anything?
Like, I thought that was a classic sort of England thing, and not even in an arrogant way, just in a stupid way. Like, you're in a World Cup. Like, the idea is to survive one game and advance to the next stage. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how you win these games. And if you win 7 matches, you don't even need to win all of them. Like, you win the whole thing. Yeah. So him coming out now and assessing their performance and like, saying beating somebody isn't good enough, I just thought that smacked of a bit of the English mentality where they put too much pressure on themselves.
Do you think that's, though, a lot of that chat from the coaches is the players themselves know, like, he's talking bullshit, but we know, like, as in, it's kind of like he offloads, I think, some of the pressure on his team because, I don't know, you chat like, oh, that wasn't near good enough, but then you're going back into the change rooms and you're kind of like, job's done, girls, move on to the next one. I don't know, is he playing up to the media a little bit?
I think, like, sometimes, like, he's not going to come out and say this in the media, but playing badly can be such a positive thing. Like, they didn't play well. And yeah, absolutely, there's people, like, it's all over Twitter, like, how are they in contention? They're not in contention, but they absolutely still are in contention, you know what I mean? They won the game. But even playing Scotland was different from France playing South Korea or Korea Republic. It's changed, I don't know. But anyway, that was different because they're neighbours, like, that's nearly a derby, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's ranked what in the world, like, they...
You're always up for those kind of big games.
Yeah.
They're the ones that you relish.
I actually,
most.
in the first 10 minutes, was like, Scotland are going really, really well here. And then obviously England dominated for the rest of the first half. But then maybe they did sit back and rest on their laurels a bit in the second half. But yeah, no, playing badly and winning can be a positive thing so often. I remember last year, not this year's National League, last year's National League, we won the semi-final playing badly. Daylight robbery, won by point, last minute goal. And we were like, oh my goodness, that was shocking. But
did you say, oh my goodness?
Oh my goodness. That's what
oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, yeah. No, I was like, that was a joke, but it was a perfect opportunity because we'd won. We'd given ourselves an opportunity to go out and fix it in 2 weeks' time. Like, you didn't want to be waiting until championship. And we went after all the things we did badly, and we were kind of underdogs going into the league final. Like, but there was talk that the other team had been playing better, they performed better in their semi-final, but we had so much specific things to work on. We'd still gotten over the line playing poorly. Like, I was for the Arsenal men's team, have done over the years, and it's been a massive problem for them. Like, they can't win unless they play really, really well. And I think it's not the end of the world for England. Like, geez, first round, they're going to be grand.
But it goes, it's not just, I think it can go, that kind of trend can work for a team. Like, if a team plays badly, a lot of the time it does work in their favour, but as well, sometimes a player, Joe, if you have an absolute mare of a game and have underperformed, and then you're looking back on the analysis and you're like, what was I doing?
This.
Yeah, and you've got so many things in your head. Now, again, if you focus on all the negative things, it's not good either, but it definitely acts as a kind of a driver. I remember, I think it was 2017 Six Nations, and I can't remember who. It was one of the 5 teams we were playing, and it was a poor performance. And our next game was France at home, and we were very much underdogs going into it. But we were so annoyed at ourselves for the poor performance and our little kind of mistakes. I think we won the game before that anyway. But it was still like we won it, but we were poor. Now we were by no means exceptional when we played against France, but we definitely lifted it. So yeah, sometimes having that.
And sometimes on the other side, like, everybody thinks now, even I was contributing to it, everybody thinks France are world beaters, and then like there's just a big shock, you know what I mean? And now I'm sure the girls are very experienced. They're not going to let that type of thing, they're not going to buy into that type of thing, like, we're unreal. You know, I'm sure they're very aware that the opposition probably weren't up to scratch, but the opposite thing can happen. And often I've seen it with the men's All-Ireland finals over the years. People have asked me, like, oh, Mayo haven't been playing well now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, over the course of the last 5 years, like, the Dublin men beat Mayo by a point every time. I'm like, no, like, it doesn't matter. Do you know, people look at other games, and I'm like, this collision is what we should be thinking about, not what has happened, because they've done 3 weeks training since, and they fixed whatever, or like hopefully have somewhat made an effort to fix whatever they.
And that's why, though, you're talking about championship and the same with World Cup. Like, I think these performances don't really matter as much anymore. Like, you get through one hurdle and you go on to the next one.
Yeah.
But it is a hurdle, and if you blunder now, it's a huge blow. Like, we'll be talking about Australia, Italy a little bit later on, but that was an upset, 2-1 to Italy. And again, that can be a huge stumbling block as well. Like, I get what you mean. Like, the first game, like, you just get through it.
Yeah.
To 100% agree, and you don't need a pristine performance. Sometimes that can go against you. You're kind of you do rest on your laurels a little bit, but then I think you have to be cautious going into this game that we want to kind of get off on the right track. It can be messy. It doesn't have to be the prettiest looking performance, but you want to get over the line with the result that you want first and foremost.
But then does that not get harder to do then? Like, if, again, Phil Neville might be saying something different in the changing room and stuff, but I think he could have just taken the pressure off them a bit and just said to the media straight away, what the hell are you talking about? Did you not see the Italy-Australia game? Or this is the World Cup, everybody's trying to take us out. So we're just getting past one, it's kill or be killed, and we're moving on to the next stage.
This is Phil's first World Cup as a player and a manager.
He was a nervous wreck as a player as well, that's what worries me. Like,
you know,
I think he would be like that in the changing rooms too.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah, you never, like, and it does, your managers and your coaches have a huge impact on players. Like, are they relaxed going into it? If they are, then we should be, like, I think it does.
If he's saying that, like, that's not good enough and we need to do better, that's absolutely fine, but there just needs to be measurable things. Okay, well, tell us what we can do to fix it. Like, as in, it's adults, like, it's the World Cup, you know. They should, if that's the message that needs to be told, that's the message that needs to be told, but then that's parked then, and this is how we're going to achieve that, and this is the things we're going to go after. I know they only have a short turnaround, but like, it's just maybe sitting down, doing a bit of analysis, refreshing it in their head.
And as well as this is, we're all chat about England, but Scotland, they did really well. Like in the Euros in 2017, they met England and they lost 6-0. They're currently ranked 17 places below England. So, and to be disappointed not to get a draw, I think is something achievable, and they can still be in with a shout of getting out of this group. I think you've got, and as well as that, so Nikita Parris, the right winger for England. She's a Man City player, but now she's signing with Lyon as well. So she'll have, I thought, Bronze and Parris, they played really well together. So that'll be a combo.
On the right-hand side.
Yeah, and they've played together with Man City as well. So I thought they were quite strong, like an attacking force going forward, but like England, it's sloppy with possession, and then that controversial VAR early in the first half to get that penalty. Anytime I think of World Cup, I think of England and penalties. They always seem to bloody get penalties. Anyway, it's my brain just going off on a tangent. So it was handball inside the box. It wasn't, not that anything was intentional, but it didn't seem like she deliberately moved her hand to block the shot. Penalty, do you like VAR?
I love VAR. I think it's such a different dramatic element to the whole thing. Like, you know, I know it's getting annoying when you see players just every 2 seconds doing this, but
big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Maybe we're in a honeymoon period with VAR at the minute, but I just love like the drama of the referee running over to the TV screen to watch it and then coming back and you still don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But like with stuff like that as well, like I always hate the handball sort of argument or the intentional handball and was there intention, but to me it's intentional. Again, it's not the right word, but if your hand doesn't need to be there, do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be in that position, so get it out of the way. It's on you to get it out of the way.
Well, the rules are, if you hand the ball in the box, penalty, and then VAR, it's just,
And it doesn't matter if you meant to do it. You can't just run around like this in the box. Like, well, I didn't mean to. The ball hit off me.
Is that your Gaelic tactic?
Spain got a similar one, through VAR, and I'm actually up for Spain, but I was horrified for South Africa because they were 1-0 up with 82 minutes to go, and it would have been like a massive shock. I have Spain in the sweepstakes, so it was a bit bittersweet.
It all comes out now.
Yeah, but I was just like, they got their first goal was one similar, like it was nearly like your one kicked the ball at her hand in the box, and I was just like, that is so harsh. But as I said, like, if your hands are, do you know what I mean? If you're playing that sport and you know the rules, like, you have to keep your hands down, like.
And the Scottish player that handled the ball, Nikita Doherty, she plays at Glasgow City. She had a tough game. Like they were running down her channel, and you've got someone with the pace like Parris and Bronze just pinging in balls as well. It was
a cross,
Yes, tough day. And then as well as that, you're looking at a lot of the England players are professional, and she's a nurse, so she trains a couple of times a week with Glasgow and then does a day job as well. So I think like some of the Scottish players, Kim Little, Cuthbert, are professional playing down with City and Arsenal, but then a lot of them these are part-time players, and all of the England squad are contracted players. So it's pros versus semi-pros as well. So I think like a 2-1 win, it's not bad going for Scotland.
I just think if you were Scottish, if you were on that team, you'd be like, we lost. You know what I mean? We're all competitors. And as in from the outside looking in, you're like, oh yeah, no, they're doing really well. And even listening to you speaking there about, I didn't realise that girl or that woman is a nurse. But from the outside looking in, you're like, oh yeah, they did really well. But it doesn't help. Like, they're still going to be wanting to win all of they're not there just to take part. And they shouldn't be, and no one ever is, you know, the kind of way. So I don't know.
It's funny. I think the media sometimes think they're being kind if they're talking about a glorious failure. Like, you know, we always hear like people criticise, like, say the coverage of the Irish rugby team, the men's team, sometimes if they lose, but we all say it was heroic or whatever.
Oh God! But even saying, I'm even now like, I can't believe I said that because I hate it when we. I'm contributing to this.
Yeah,
like,
you
don't.
As a player, you hate that. Like, you don't want any of that because as
it's like pity.
You expect it to win or you want it to win.
Yeah, you're like, slate me. I played crap.
And like there's nothing more I hate worse, like if you lose a game and then people are like, "Jeez, you're pretty good. You ran them to to a point." Like, well, we thought we were going to win, or we missed a goal chance, or but you're being patronised then when you think that you should have.
It's a bit like, thanks for that. Those kind
Eddie
words.
O'Sullivan commented on the World Cup that you were speaking, that you played in Ireland, and I actually thought it was a breath of fresh air. He was like, this person didn't do this well because they weren't stepping up to the line. Like, I don't know, something like that.
That's pretty good.
The line, you've got the rugby lingo class.
But I actually was like, oh, for me as not a rugby player, that's really interesting. Like, don't just say something innocuous, you know, the girls look tired and they're much better than that. Like, give me some proper analysis.
Like,
do you know what I mean? They know that they already, you're not like helping them.
The players
by saying,
are the harshest critics, so you're able to take, like, he
wasn't being like, he wasn't doing it, you know what I mean? He wasn't being like personal or anything. He was saying very technical things that I found really interesting. They were negative, but they were correct. Like, that's absolutely fine. I think sometimes in women's sport there can be, particularly with like newspaper articles and stuff, it's just like, even though they lost, well, I don't know, I can only speak on for ladies football. It has improved. Like, there is more of a kind of critical analysis of the games starting to come in now, which is great. But sorry, Jen, I'm not saying that you were that's what you were doing with Scotland. But I think
it's cool.
Like, that is interesting. Like, we had Aisling Maloney from Tipperary in one time, and she said that she had never had anything bad written about her. Ever.
No.
Do you know? And she said, I've had loads of bad games and nobody's ever written anything bad. And she's not asking for it, but like, you know, she's saying, if I was bad, I want somebody to come out and say it was bad and why it was bad or why the team was bad.
But you're not looking to be, it's like, okay, I don't agree with trolling. Like, you're not, it's just like, if you're going to the effort of, or if you were the person who has to write this article, or like, watch the game and know what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? If you're not a GAA correspondent, don't be the person writing about the ladies GAA, because you're not going to do it justice. And it's not that Aisling Maloney's looking for someone to call her out on Twitter and say, oh, she's whatever. It's just, you know, she'd be disappointed. I don't know this, but like, she'd be disappointed she missed. Yeah, she had a 25% conversion rate. Yeah. Fair. She's disappointed by that.
But I think as well, it's, if you're playing Gaelic football, write about my Gaelic football, be it good or bad. If I'm playing rugby and I've not done the fundamental skills well, write about it. Like, you're like, kind of, I think if you remove a bit of the gender, a lot of the time be like, did I pass the ball well? Did I create space? Or did I not do those things? And you write about it. And then, like, I don't think players don't get aggrieved with stuff like that. I think it's, once it's, you know, the analysis of the game or your technical skill and ability and your decisions you made in the game time. If it was poor, if it was great, like, go for your life. Well, speaking of actually controversy and commentators getting stuck in, have you? We want to show you a clip from Fox News. They laid into Ada Hegerberg, the Norwegian footballer, Ballon d'Or winner, who's currently not in the World Cup. She chooses not to be. So we're gonna have a look at that.
And all of this has really put the Norwegian camp in an awkward and frankly unwelcome spot now that the glare of the World Cup and the fact that the world's best player is not representing their nation at the World Cup.
It's really, really interesting. Like, when you talk to players of the team of Norway, like, they're really happy that finally someone, and it's a big name in Norway, Martin Odegaard, he spoke up and they were like, finally someone is backing us. And they are so proud that they are just, okay, we are here to present the country, so let's just concentrate on us. We want to perform well. We want to represent the country. And if you want to fight for something, well, do it as a team. It's a team sport. You're not going to change something as a single person. You do it together as a team.
At the same time, if you're famous, you have this huge opportunity to be clear with your platform, and that brings change. She's not clear with what her platform is, at least to us. Is it marketing? Is it pay disparity? Is it grassroots efforts in Norway? Is it the coaching staff that she doesn't get along with? What is it exactly? And I think that if she was a little bit more specific, she would gather a lot more respect from us.
Exactly. Ada, what do you want? You have to be specific. These vague generalizations, that's not the way to affect change. I think what she's doing right now, in a strange way, she's hijacking the attention from her teammates and her friends right now at the most important moment. And her cause, as I said, it may be incredibly righteous and noble, but until you are actually specific as to what you want, it's very, very difficult to change. And I think it's a cop-out to say, well, I didn't want to make it public because I didn't want to take attention. We just did an entire segment about her because she is arguably the best player in the world, and she's not at the World Cup. If Messi or Ronaldo did that, we would have answers. We would know why.
Yeah, we would be losing our minds.
Right, thoughts on that?
I just, like one of the commentators there, one of the female commentators is saying, oh, is it grassroots? Yes, Ada Hegerberg said that. She said that very clearly. She's been very clear. She said it. She said she's come out and she said it once. People think it's ambiguous because she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. She did say there's no academies for the young girls. There's academies for the boys. Like, it's from the grassroots level. They're not treated the same. Absolutely fair comment, fair to say that. And it's noticeable for her then when she goes up through the ranks, or when you go up through the ranks to senior football, it's noticeable that the foundations aren't there. And she's come out and she has said that. So that's a load of shite, like what they're saying essentially. And it's, sorry, it is because she has said it, you know, that kind of way.
And then they're giving out that she hasn't got specific and she hasn't given them details. But I think that she's also like, she's like, I'm letting the team do their thing.
So she has come out and said it, but now it's a bit ambiguous because she's like, I don't want to comment on it anymore because the team, because let the girls do their thing or whatever. But sometimes I think I don't mean this to all be about the media at this show today, because the media in Ireland are doing such a great job at the minute for women in sport. They are. This 2020 campaign has been amazing. But
you're one of us now, Niamh.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm not. God damn. But sorry, sometimes this can happen where the media are asking questions like, why isn't she at the World Cup? Blah blah blah. And people then think that she's the person who's saying these things and she's this person putting herself into the spotlight. But like, it's an interesting story and people are saying it and people are talking about it. And that's why it seems it's all about her. But she's actually not the person who's bringing these stories up. Like, if you want to change it, the Norwegian media need to make it all about the team and not be still sitting
harping on about
because
this.
she's not the person who's harping on, you know, the kind of way. Yeah. And we were involved in a bit of controversy in 2015, you know, the point that was but wasn't. So obviously we didn't have Hawkeye VAR essentially for GAA, and a point went over the bar that wasn't given, and we weren't good enough that day. Like, Cork were far superior. They won the All-Ireland final. That's absolutely fair. But obviously we would have been a bit disappointed with the officiating. LGFA dealt with it. There's a type of VAR kind of thing in place now, which is brilliant. That's amazing. Really good job. We never appealed it, ever. We never were like, we want to appeal the All-Ireland final, we want to play it again. We never said that. But like, there was articles in the Irish Independent and there was things up on Twitter. We were silent about it. We knew we weren't good enough to win that day. Cork were better than us, but still people are coming out on Twitter and people involved in the sport were saying Dublin ladies need to shut up. And we were like, we haven't opened our mouths. Like, and this just smells, that Fox News thing smells of them slating Ada Hegerberg because other people are putting this story out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I better go delete a few old tweets here with Dublin ladies.
Yeah, Dublin ladies, shut up moaning. Like, we were like, we weren't good enough to win the match. Like, obviously it's annoying that happened, but we didn't play well.
Yeah. Like
so.
the shitstorms, it's not on Hegerberg either. It's not up to her. If she doesn't want to play, whatever the reasons, she doesn't have to play, you know, for her country. And like, I think it's different. Right? So I get the point that if the whole team took a stance together, like the USA team or whatever, then it's more powerful. But I think in this instance, when you have somebody like Hegerberg, who's by far like the biggest star, you know, compared to the rest of the people, like, they probably don't want to jeopardise their place in the team. It's easier for her to take that stance and probably send to the rest of them, like, you know, I'm going to go do this. I'm not saying that they're all part of this together, but it's harder for them. They all sort of come along with her and say, yeah, we're not playing either, because it's a big opportunity for them to be playing in the World Cup.
I think as well, just trying to put myself in her shoes, to I think it's tough to walk away from something that, like, when you grow up playing a sport, it doesn't matter. When I was younger, it was an Irish jersey and I wanted to play football. Didn't know there was a women's rugby team, and it was the dream to sing like Aaron Naveen, and it's still one of the best things I'll ever do in my life is to represent my country. To walk away from it at the highest stage, I can't imagine how difficult it is. Now, I'm assuming that, you know, she wants to play for her country, and that's an assumption that we're making, but kind of coming out and saying that it's not easy. Like, I remember during our home World Cup, Ruth O'Reilly, one of the front rows, she got injured towards the end of the campaign, and that was her campaign done. And we didn't have a great campaign, and there was stuff going on in the background, and Ruthie spoke to journalists about it and was just very upfront, and she got a lot of criticism for speaking out while we were in tournament, being like, oh, it's going to disrupt the girls' focus, and it's not good for the team, and give out about that after. Well, firstly, when the World Cup is over, your voice is gone. It's gone. Like, that's the opportunity when people will listen. When the World Cup is over and we don't perform or we don't do well, oh, it's after the fact. But she put herself out there and spoke about it. And, like, girls in the team, even though we didn't publicly come out and say it at the time, were appreciated. Yeah, really appreciated. It's such a tough thing to do. Like, my thing that I regret is not coming out and saying, like, fair play to you, Ruth, earlier during the campaign. But you're kind of, I think you feel like your hands are tied, and you're a bit bound that way. But, like, it's not an easy thing. So I don't know. I'm comparing Ada to Ruth here. It's kind of different because Ruth was in the World Cup, but I think I don't think you'd make that decision to step away from a team lightly.
The only thing I would worry about from Ada's point of view is I saw an interview of Roy Keane recently. Like, you know, it's sort of not similar, but like Roy Keane obviously walked away, probably found it really tough as well. And, you know, he was doing it for what he thought were the right reasons and for the good of the country, and didn't get the backing or whatever that he thought that he wanted. But he said recently that he regrets not playing, you know, and he should have just played. It wasn't, you know, it was a chance to play in the World Cup for Ireland.
But it created, like, people then were like, why is he leaving? And they asked all the questions that he wanted them to ask. So sometimes it's...
Yeah, but it was him then. Like, it was him who suffered because of it. That's why I worry for Hegerberg as well.
Personally,
you know,
but
she might look back in a few years and things might be better and it might be great, but, like, you know, she could have played.
Yeah, it's a World Cup. It's
just a difficult question with women in sport at the minute. Like, do you just persist with what you've got, or do you ask for more? And that's just the question.
That's a fair point. Like,
and then if you ask for a bit too much, are they going to take away what they've already given?
And, like, I'm not saying that, like, all she wants is what the Norwegian team deserve. You know what I mean? They've performed over the last decade or whatever better in tournaments than the men's team. So they're not asking to be paid the same. They're just asking for, like, what they deserve. You know,
the same opportunities that the boys are getting, that she wants the girls to get.
She does recognise that commercially, like, they can't be getting the same, like, but it was below par, like way below par, and she did. I know she's a bit there. It's not as ambiguous as they're making it out to be. Like, she did come out and say she had a serious problem with the lack of academies and the amount of academies for boys. Not the problem with the amount of academies for boys, but the lack thereof for girls. So I don't know. It's crazy.
I think Martin Odegaard should just focus on his own career as well. Like, you know.
So we've all agreed. Martin's told Ada to shut up, and we're like, you shut up, Martin. No, you shut up. Excellent chat. So we've covered a little bit of the World Cup. I think there was a few more games that we kind of miss out on, that I kind of I was like on the goggle box watching it probably too much, and I was like, oh, this is the offside rule in football. Glass.
You can't just crunch people in this sport.
you can sometimes. We can chat a little bit more next week about it, but moving on to different sport for the moment, we'll speak about the hockey. So the Irish women, 2 wins from 2 up north, doing really well. So they had a tough game against Malaysia in not the best of conditions, 2-1 win. And it was a little bit probably rocky, and then they absolutely stormed through and smashed the Czechs 8-1. So I think Anna O'Flanagan got popped in 4 goals. Not too bad, just a little casual 4 on the road to Tokyo. So their next game is Tuesday against, I know this, Singapore. Doing well so far. Gonna head up to any of the games, or you're gonna maybe?
Seeing as they're up north, like why wouldn't they?
Yeah. You hear the accent, you'd blend right in there, Conán, just be like 100%. No, they're doing really well.
Yeah, I was hoping to go on, I don't even know what day, on the 9th, but I couldn't make it. But I am actually hoping to get up to one of the games. I was talking to one of the girls during the week, but I just want to say, I was looking at I was like, which one of these games can I go to? Their schedule is grueling. There's like no recovery between those games. Like they are so impressive to pull out that second performance after such a quick turnaround. I saw a picture, because one of the girls I was texting, I was like, oh my God, schedule is wild. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, 7-day turnaround, I'm wrecked. But like, they'd be jumping in ice baths, like wheelie bins of ice baths, like immediately after the game, preparing for the next game. But yeah, no, it's something I hadn't realised before. But yeah, they're flying. So
yeah, so even though we don't have a soccer team in the World Cup, I'm saying soccer now instead of football, thanks Macker. Even though we don't have an Irish women's team in the World Cup, we still have an Irish team to cheer for that,
are pretty impressive bunch.
Yeah. So doing well so far. Ice baths, they're like ice bath city. Were you saying that they were like?
Yeah, like they jump in straight away. Well, like, I don't know, the girls who obviously see a benefit from it, they be after their games jumping in straight away because they've such a quick turnaround. But yeah, those tournaments that they play in are grulers.
Well, you see, I remember one of the toughest
you've probably
tournaments.
played in tournaments set up before something similar.
Some of them, like the sevens tournaments, a lot of the time you'd play 6 games over 2 days. 7, and then as well as that, they're never in like a nice, cool, temperate climate either. They're like Russia, but in the height. Dubai, and I've got a duvet on my head. Like, it's massive, so it retains way too much heat anyway. So you lose you're finished. It's like 14 minutes of playing. Then you're like immediately you try and run to a wall, down your whatever BCA or whatever drinks that they need you to get in like high energy, because you can't eat too much because the turnaround is so quick. You stick your legs up against the wall, die while you're like, oh God, look at this terrible tan line, and then you're kind of like, then you're looking at analysis of the next game that you're meant to play, then ice baths again. So it's like you cover, and then it depends on like the level and who you're playing against, but I think you could cover like 3 to 5 kilometers a game, just depending on your position as well. So like Dubai was roasting.
That's a no for me.
Yeah. I know it's great crack, but it's
just thinking about tag rugby tournaments I've played in, and like, when you sit down afterwards and it's
have
like,
a
you're
beer.
playing again, like, not again, like you just got comfortable. What's the thinking with your legs against the wall? What's that about?
It was just the S&C was like, oh, let's make them look like idiots and stick their legs. Yeah, lactic acid, whatever it is. Yeah, so and they say that ice baths now, they don't actually do anything. It's more something. Yeah.
Do any of you use them? Or?
I would go to the sea a lot. I live in Malahide, just right there, so I just jump into it. Yeah. But don't do a huge amount of ice baths, but I suppose the sea's same type of thing. It's absolutely Baltic at the minute, so
it's lovely. It's refreshing. Though. You're like, I feel so alive.
Yeah, I heard something about it resetting your nervous system, but I don't know how much I buy into all that. Unless I read some proper research on it.
I did read a paper before, and apparently there's loads of papers out there, but apparently the best method of warming down, or like after you've warmed down, is to have a ice bath straight into a shower, because it's cold, warm.
Rotten.
Because apparently that dilates your veins.
And then the warm water feels scalding, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go back into it again. Yeah, you're just like, you are, like your heart is racing. Yeah. But great, at least I know Marion was actually reading up on the papers. She's our S&C coach. She wasn't just a sadist. Moving on from that, we've decided to shove our words of the week aside to go for something a little bit different today. So, you guys ready?
I'm completely unprepared for it. I thought it was words of the week.
Perfect. Well, Conán, you weren't even supposed to be here, so like you're doing remarkably well.
Thanks very much.
Okay, we'll bring in. We need some accessories for this quiz. Yeah, it's pretty big. Tune in. There's no need for that tune in.
You're doing great though, girl.
So, any of the viewers, you might be able to tell that Mackers is no longer here, or there's a nice peaceful silence. She just got intimidated by the quiz that we're about to do and bolted. So
Macker's pissed off, and now there's a laptop in front of him.
Now, she did say she was training, but I think it's more she was intimidated. Anyway, we have a new challenge for you, Conán, right? So as we have like a quiz from SportsJOE, it's the county nicknames. As editor of SportsJOE, you should be getting a pretty decent time.
I think I'm going to do all right, but...
Okay, so it's a 6-minute countdown. However, I think that you have 2 minutes.
1 minute 47 seconds is what it'll take.
Okay.
Hang on, why is there only 28 counties? Like,
You're looking now. So there's
because
because the other counties they don't have great nicknames.
Right.
Okay, you ready to go? You have to talk us through this as well. 1 minute 47 seconds on the clock.
What? Where is Words of the Week?
Listen, it was because you and Macker were so crap at it the last time you were there, and you just kept on guessing Serena Williams and Mia Hamm the whole time that like
Billie
myself
Jean
and the
King.
producer Niamh were like, let's just give him something a little bit easier this week, and then because Mackers will be back next week, so we'll hopefully get her back into the swing of things. But for the moment, plus this is more entertaining to see if you absolutely bomb. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
Okay, starting the timer. Press play. Ready to go. No looking.
Let's go. 1 minute 47 seconds on the clock. The wee county, live. The kingdom, come on, Jenny. This is piss easy.
You wrote this. Oh no, you didn't write this.
I'm actually worried about who wrote it because there's only 28 counties.
Okay, great.
I should actually, as editor, do something about that.
You're wasting time waffling to me. Less time chatting, more time waffling.
Lakeland County. Westmeath.
Is it?
Oh
no.
Shit. Can I skip?
Yep.
Shit. Lakeland County.
30
Cavan.
seconds. Quick go.
Oh, what the shit? I'm spitting everywhere. Saffrons. Antrim. Like, take away the 1 minute 47. We're doing the 6 minutes here.
Sorry,
nobody's
friends.
going
Come
anywhere.
on, keep going. You've got 2:30. We'll give you 2:30. Keep going.
Model county. Everybody's shouting in now. Tell me what it is. The worst thing is I know what it is, but I forget it.
Well, if you knew it, you'd be typing
shit!
it.
I'm sort of buckling here under pressure.
I'm so glad I'm here helping you.
I'm skipping that a second. I know what that Lake County is. Westmeath. Why is there a Westmouth? Why is there a Lakelands and a Lake County?
Because there's two of them. That's their nicknames.
Kildare. Are you from Kildare?
I am from Kildare.
The O'Muir County, Laois, the Breffni, Cavan, the Banner, Clare,
12. You've only got 12. Oh,
Dublin.
you are not doing well.
What the is Dolmen County? What is that? That's not even a thing. Is that spelled wrong?
The Dolmen County.
The Rossies, come on, for God's sake. The
Oh, you're complaining about that, but you're getting none of the other ones.
The Premier County, Tipperary, the Faithful County.
You're past the 140 mark. We're going to give you 60 seconds. Keep going. But no
Wicklow,
pressure, but you're not doing well.
Farney, Monaghan, Mourne County, Down, Tribesmen, Galway, the Cats, Kilkenny, the Oakley Foy, Derry, Shannonsiders, Longford. Whoa, 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 whoa. Limerick. There we go. Rebel County, Cork, Dice. How do you pronounce that? Daisha.
Disha.
Waterford.
Disha.
Lakeland County.
That's 2 minutes.
The Model County. What the fuck? I know what the Model County is. This is really annoying.
Well, it seems like you don't.
Seriously, the Friends episode where it's
20
50
seconds.
states, it's like, that's the beauty of this game. It makes you want to kill yourself. It's like, come on.
15
I'm just
seconds.
going to, oh no, Jenny, shut up. Like, I know this is really annoying because I know what all, I can just go through every single country. Wexford, thank you very much. Lakeland County. What the hell is Dolmen County?
The Dolmen County.
Lakeland.
Tricky.
Lakeland, lakes, where are
5,
the lakes? Oh, come on.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Jesus, that is so annoying.
Carlo.
Dolmen?
No.
Carlo is Dolmen?
Yeah.
But like I've never heard that in my life.
Carlo is riddled with dolmens.
What is a dolmen?
You go into Carlton Town and you're like, whoa, there's a dolmen there, there's a dolmen there, there's dolmens everywhere. Yeah, you're like, it's when you say dolmen, I say Carlo. Dolmen.
I am actually a bit rattled by that now.
Listen,
Lakeland County, Fermanagh.
You came in here chatting so much swagger.
Fermanagh doesn't even count.
I'll do it in 147.
Fermanagh has one lake, Lough Erne, and then there's just a couple of little sub Lough Erne lakes. It doesn't.
I think they're not called sub Lough Erne lakes. They're just called lakes.
The annoying thing, I could have ruined this game though, because I've got technically 3 minutes 20 seconds left, so I would have just named every county and put them in.
I still don't think you would have got
way
the
my
Dublin
brain was
county.
working,
I don't think
probably-
you would have got Carlow.
I still don't know what a dolmen is.
Do you wanna see what I did earlier?
No, I don't. I'm a bit annoyed at this
I'm
whole
just gonna
thing.
show you. I'm just gonna show you a screenshot, right? Of, let me just see. That is, yeah, that's me absolutely nailing it. Yeah.
Shit. Well, I could do that again now.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Listen, anyone can play that on SportsJOE, but just as long as the thing they take away from it is that I was better than you, and I'm not even the editor of the website that created
I am not the author of this quiz.
So,
If Niamh McEvoy was here, I think I would have done better because she would have been buckling under pressure, and I would have sort of assumed a role where I was a bit more cocky, and I wouldn't have buckled.
We might get her to do it next week, but nah, she might listen to this, so maybe not.
Let's do it next week. And we'll just do the exact same quiz, and then I'll be like, everybody knows Dolmen's Carlow.
Let's just hope that Mackers then doesn't listen or someone tells her.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Anyway. Listen, okay, well we're gonna end on that. You seem still pretty devastated. Don't worry, it's not as devastating as if you were, say, one of the teams that lost in the World Cup that I can't quite think of at the moment.
Scotland.
Scotland's pretty. Yeah, Australia I still think is the one that you're like, oh, that'd be gutting. They were coming in as I thought they were dark horses. I had them pinned. You've got the likes of Sam Kerr's doing really well, and then 89th minute goal from Italy.
Devastation.
Devastation.
Not as devastated as Phil Neville is at winning.
You were just ripping into Phil.
I am not happy with Phil Neville.
I'm kind of like I like Phil Neville. I'm a Man United supporter, so yeah. I think.
Why do you like Phil Neville? That's all the more reason to not like Phil Neville as a Man United supporter.
I think that if you're a coach or a manager, the face that you give to the media, for the coaches that I've worked with, is very different to the one in the back room, and it's not. What he's saying to the media, I don't think the girls pay any attention to because they know.
Yeah, he's dull man and about, like, isn't he? He's just sort of he's being
terrible. That was a pitiful.
It was a dull man. Yes, is the word.
I'm fill up of your. Oh, and I'm going to stop myself there. No, that's absolutely terrible. To everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Play by Play. Thanks, Conán, for stepping in for the full
quiz.
Yeah, for the full thing.
I can't remember the rest of the show now. I'm just annoyed at this.
It's fine. At least we're ending on a high. Great. Thanks a million for listening, guys, and tune in next week when Mackers and myself will be back being mean to each other and talking about more women in sport.